Welcome to Sports Corner with Ralph Williams and Smokin' Jim Frazier. And now here's your host, Ralph Williams and Smokin' Jim Frazier.
This is a Huddle Sports Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire Stick TV, Facebook, and YouTube. Get all your sports news here first. The daily podcasts are Ken and Ken in the Morning, Lions Talk with Smoking Jeremy B, Wrestling Roundup, The Big Football Show, and more, Shield TV, Lions Villain Report, and Red Zone Rant. The afternoon podcasts are Valhalla, Grosef Sports, WCFL Dolphins Talk, The Cheap Seats, The Bodkin Show, Spirit of Detroit Podcast, and Maniacs. The nightly podcasts are Palace Hall Report, Frozen Tundra Network, Skull Gang 365, The Huddle Sports Network Open Mic, First and 10 with Foz, Main Event Football Show, Prime Sports World, The Man Cave, Prim and Proper Sports. Spitballing Podcast, Lions Fan Cave Chat, Puckett, 313 Den Podcast, The Guys Huddle, Shots from the Sideline, Let's Talk Sports, The Michigan Truth Sports Podcast, Off the Rails, NFC Northeast, Power Hours, and Detroit Lions News. Make sure you follow, like, share, subscribe, and comment. Hope you like all the shows.
Oh, yeah, it's time, baby. It's time for the return of the Sports Corner Show. Yeah, Guns N' Roses in the Paradise City. Take me home, baby. Yeah. Oh, I've never been so happy in my life to be back on this microphone talking to you today for the Sports Corner Show with me, Ralph Williams, and the Smokin' Jim Frazier. It's a pleasure to be here today. And I got to tell you, we got a great show for you today. We have special guest Mike SISZAK, who will be joining us in a few moments from Amped Up Sports. And also we will be talking about the Commanders, the Ravens, and the Steelers with Mike. And we have a lot to talk about today. Paul Skeens wants to go to the Miners. How about that one? And a whole lot more all coming up right in a few moments here. And I'm going to get here. And here we are in the new Studio 20 in Ocean City, Maryland. And at my new studio, my new place, and where I now live in Ocean City, Maryland. But I'm still talking Pittsburgh sports, and I'm still going on and talking about national sports and everything else just because I live in Ocean City, Maryland here. We're on the Huddle Sports Network as well as YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and the Twitter X platforms. Please don't forget, coming up soon, probably next week, it's going to have to happen. I've been trying to get to the technical end of the Oracle radio network. And as soon as I get to the technical part of it, which I haven't had time because I'm still kind of getting things together here at my home here in Ocean City, Maryland, and I haven't had the time to really get to it. I signed a contract. It's all set to go. We're ready. They sent me this stuff that I need to do. And as soon as I get everything together, Sports Corner and all RW Media production shows that are on social media will be on the Oracle radio network as well as our regular normal platforms, including the Huddle Sports Network as well. Smokin' Jim Frazier, welcome to the program.
Hey, thanks, Ralph. I'm ready for this one, buddy.
Oh, you know what, man? We're back and better than ever right here from Studio 10 in Ocean City, Maryland. All right, and before we get to Mike SISZAK, our guest, he's going to be on by phone as well today because of the because he had a prior engagement that he had to attend, so he's going to be on the phone. Smokin' Jim is also on the phone here, as you'll see right here. But also, we're going to have Smokin' Jim on here as well. So hang on a second here. Let me get this done here real quick. All right, cancel that out. And let's get Mike on here as well. Mike's going to be on the phone with us. So let's see what we can do here for Mike. All right, there we go. All right, here we go. We're going to get Mike up here. Here we go. All right, in a couple seconds. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, we got him up there ready to go. And there it is. Mike SISZAK right up on the screen here on the phone with us. Oh, nope, that wasn't what I wanted to do, but that's beside the point. But we'll get it done here sooner or later. All right, let's get to our sponsors here real quick. Our studio sponsor is Mata Heating and Air Conditioning. As soon as I find it here we go. Mata Heating and Air Conditioning, 724-2010-500. Mata Heating and Air Conditioning. Call them today. It's summertime is here. And don't forget to get your air conditioner service. Call Mata, 724-2010-500. Mata Heating and Air Conditioning. And also, the sponsor for Mike SISZAK here is going to be is another Mike. And I want to talk to you today about Mike Dotson Realty. Today, I want to talk to you about him today. Oh, that's again, I keep pushing that one for some strange reason. I don't know why. That's only for Saturday. There we go, or whatever else. Yeah, there we go. All right. Oh, here we go. There we is. There it is. Nope, that's the wrong one. That's for today's election. Oh my. I'm batting 1,000 here today, Smoking Jim. Can't get the right picture up here that I need here. And I'm trying to get to it. Let me see where it is. If I can find it. Oh, there we go. Always have trouble finding this picture for some strange reason. I don't know why. I don't know either, but we'll see. But there's the Oracle Radio Network, which we are going to be joining soon as I get the technical end of things worked out here with them. We're going to be part of the Oracle Radio Network as well as the Huddle Sports Network and the other stuff. Here we go. There it is right there. Mike Dotson. Call Mike Dotson Realty today in Ocean City, Maryland. 410 area code 596-1681. Call Mike Dotson today for any real. Listen, if you're just looking for a summer home, I don't care if you're looking for a summer home or if you're looking for a rental, if you're looking for anything, give Mike a call. He also does rentals. If you want to rent a place for the summer, call Mike as well, 410-596-1681. 20 years in the real estate business, Mike Dotson Realty. All right, let's get to our guest today. But first, before we get to our guests, I'm sorry to keep them waiting like this. We're going to do our rants for today. And my rant it's about Paul Skeens. You know what? I feel bad for Paul Skeens. And you know why I feel bad for Paul Skeens? Because he's on a lousy, sucky team in the Pittsburgh Pirates. Okay? The Pittsburgh Pirates can't find their way out of a paper bag right now. They just fired Derek Sheldon. Don Kelly is their new manager. And it's gone on and on and on with the problems with this team. Please, Bob Nutting, do us all a favor. And I want everyone, please, today, to please go to church, kneel down and pray that Bob Nutting sells the team. Because I'm going to tell you something right now. This is the worst Pittsburgh Pirate team I've ever seen. Paul Skeens, it's so bad, Paul Skeens wants to go to the minors. You know what? That's bad when you want to be demoted. And that's my rant for today. Smoking Jim's wisdom. Go ahead, Smoking Jim.
Hey, let me ask you this, Ralph. If you were the Pirate organization, would you consider trading Paul Skeens?
I probably would, yeah. Because if you know, in the history of the Pirates, they've always, when they become sucky, and then after the All-Star break, they managed to start cleaning house, getting rid of coaches and players and stuff like that. So I think it could happen. If it doesn't happen this year, it could happen next year because Paul Skeens is getting disgusted. He wants out. I mean, I could see the look in his face. He's disgusted with the way this organization's going. Look at the other night. He had a really good outing, or the other day, or whatever day it was, and they lost 1-0 because the bats couldn't come through. And he pitched a gem of a game. I mean, I just don't understand what the problem is. I do understand. It's the owner. It's the owner and it's the general manager. The general manager should have been fired along with the coach. You really want to clean, or the manager, you want to clean house, you clean house. Travis Williams should have been fired a long time ago after that Clemente debacle, the bobblehead debacle, all that. Fired, gone. I would have, if it was me, no, that's a disgrace. What's been going on this year with the Pirates has been nothing but a disgrace. And look at the attendance. Brett Kiesel posted on his Twitter page. I'm a follower of Brett Kiesel, and he follows me. And you know what he said? Shameful about the crowd at PNC Park. What's to be so shameful about, Brett? They're not winning. It's a bad baseball team. Who's going to want to go? I don't. I wouldn't pay. I wouldn't pay to go to a Pirate game. And now the Orioles, my favorite American League team, just fired their manager because they're not doing real well. So it's a ripple down effect they're smoking, Jim.
All right, yeah, that's it for me. I just wanted to get your answer on that.
Oh, Paul, if they don't trade him by the end of the All-Star break, because he wants to pitch in that World Classic, I think after the World Classic's over, they may trade him by the deadline, or they might trade him after the All-Star break because Ben Cherington has a bad habit of tearing things down. I'm talking, as soon as the team is faltered after the All-Star break, he wants to tear things down. So I wouldn't doubt it. I think they're going to liquidate, and they might start with Skeens, Keller. I think Keller's going to be gone too. I think they both are. I wouldn't doubt it. Went the line. Mike, welcome to the program. Thanks for being part of the show.
Hey, great to be talking to you as always, Ralph. Smoking Jim, how you doing?
Hey, what's up, my man Mike?
All right, Mike.
Just another day, another dollar.
That's it. There you go, man. Mike is from Amped Up Sports. He covers the Baltimore Ravens, and he also covers the Washington Commanders and the Pittsburgh Steelers. And Mike is joining us today. We're going to talk about the drafts of all three teams, free agency, and training camp get ready to come up, the regular season schedule, and a whole lot more. A lot of people say the schedule is boring, talking about the NFL schedule. But you know what? It's something to talk about during the NFL season, because the NFL, believe it or not, guys, is and I think you'll agree with me, is a 24/7, 7 day a week, 365 day, thing here in regards to the talk all the time about it. So but Mike, I think you'll agree with me on that.
Hey, listen, welcome to Maryland, Ralph. Right now, all we got to talk about is the Commanders. The Nationals they're the Nationals. The Orioles, you already said it. The Capitals are out of the playoffs, so why not talk about the schedule? What else do we have going on here right now?
Yeah, absolutely. And, and Mike SISZAK from Amped Up Sports joins us here on the phone, along with Smoki and Jim Frazier, my co-host as well, those of you new to the show. And I want to welcome all my audience here down here in Ocean City, Maryland. I know some of you got the taste of The Way I See It show last night when I cussed out the Ocean City government for not doing something about the gouging that went on during the Rock Fest this weekend. And shame on Ocean City, Maryland. I'm going to say it again and again. Shame, shame, shame. But anyway, Mike, tell us a little bit about your thoughts on the draft this year for the Ravens and the Commanders and the Steelers. First, we'll start with the Ravens.
I got to say, I don't know if there is a better match, player, scheme, position-wise, than the Ravens picked up with Malachi Starks, the safety. I had said on this program a number of times, Ravens defense can't keep going back and expecting Kyle Hamilton to change in a phone booth and put on a Superman cape every game. They got him some help. What Malachi Starks does really well in coverage in the secondary will free up Hamilton to kind of play that hybrid safety linebacker position that he excels at. It'll give him the ability to make the plays up closer to the line in the run game to blitz while still having that safety net in the back. I thought they did really well there. We saw them, of course, add to the lines. Might have liked to have seen them get a little bit more help on the edge, but they made a few moves there. And, of course, the final pick getting the kicker, regardless of the allegations against Justin Tucker after his season last season, you could see that the writing was on the wall for him. So they got the replacement kid who has just an absolute howitzer for a leg that they're bringing in with their, I think, their 5th round pick. So overall, another just Ravens draft for the Ravens. You know, they get the best position player they could for a position and a scheme. They reinforce in the areas where they need to. And you just left saying the Ravens did exactly what we thought the Ravens needed to do and exactly what they needed to do to keep that team competitive.
All right, Smoke and Jim, your thoughts on any questions for Mike about the Baltimore Ravens and their draft?
You know what? I just have one question I always wanted to ask, Mike, is most guys who win multiple MVPs, it seems like there's a lot of pressure on them to win the Super Bowl. I don't sense that kind of pressure on Lamar Jackson. Is anybody in Baltimore, getting fed up with, a quarterback that's a 3-time MVP but no Super Bowl ring?
The pressure is on the Ravens as an organization. The realization that you have this generational talent, like you said, who has won multiple MVPs, but for whatever reason just can't get over that hump and even get into the Super Bowl, let alone win it. Last year, you had a rough first half. I think that up in Buffalo, Lamar was trying to do a little too much. The turnovers killed him, but there they are at the end of the game. He puts them on his back, gets them down there with a chance to win. And what happens? Mark Andrews, who almost never drops anything, drops the 2-point conversion. They end up losing. You have to say that they would have had a shot against Kansas City going back there again. The year before, Todd Monken completely forgets that this is a team that likes to run the ball for whatever reason. The play calling was absolutely atrocious. They go out, they get Derrick Henry, they solidify the run game. They're there again. Sooner or later, at some point in time, they're going to have to they're going to have to get over the hump. They're going to have to be able to just cash in. So I think there is a lot of pressure on Lamar to win it, but I think the pressure is as much on the organization as it is on Lamar. Nobody is saying, hey, we need to go out and get rid of Lamar and bring somebody else in here, because who do you replace Lamar with? I mean, who out there do you think is better than Lamar Jackson? Who's better equipped to lead this team to the promised land right now than Lamar Jackson?
Absolutely, Mike. I agree with you 100% on that one as well. Your thoughts on the Ravens schedule, Mike? What do you think the schedule looks like for them this year? Do you think they can be competitive with it, or do you think they're going to flop?
This is a team that is always going to be competitive. They're used to playing a first-place schedule. I don't see really any issues with them. I think it works out favorably for them. The matchups are all good. So I don't think the schedule is going to be an issue. I don't see as many problems with their schedule as I do with the Commanders, who we'll talk about momentarily, who have those 3 division games, ending up the season with the Eagles, then the Cowboys, and then playing the Eagles again the last game of the season. Plus, they have a night game, a Sunday night, Monday night, a night game before they have to fly over and play a game in Spain. So theirs seems a little bit more, the Commanders' schedule seems a little more tricky to me than the Ravens, which to me is just kind of pretty straightforward. It's what I expect to look for. You know, we knew who they had to play. We knew where they were going to play. It's pretty much what I expect, and I think they'll be able to handle it.
All right, let's get started with the Commanders. Mike, the Commanders, other than what we just talked about, their schedule, also, how did you like their draft? What do you think their season looks like this year?
I thought the idea of going line was in the first round was a little interesting to me. I understand. Look, you got to protect Jaden Daniels. So they went out, they got the offensive tackle. That will enable them they'll move him to the right. They can now move Andrew Wiley into guard. The line is no longer a problem for them. I thought they picked up a running back later on in the draft. It seems like the theme for the Commanders was speed. They were really looking for speed and character guys. I don't think that the draft fell to them exactly the way that they wanted it to, because their biggest glaring weakness going into the draft was edge rusher. After letting Dante Fowler Jr. go, they really don't have any guys who were double-digit sack guys last year. Guess what? They come out, and guess what their biggest weakness still is? Edge rusher.
Edge rusher, yeah.
I was a little surprised that they didn't pick up a rusher. This was billed as a draft that had a lot of talent going into day 2 and day 3. So, there were guys who were talented edge rushers available in the 2nd, the 3rd, the 4th round. It just didn't kind of fall to them the way that they thought. I think the whole entire offseason for them hasn't necessarily gone the way that they wanted it to on the defensive end. Look, they had to replace 27 free agents. Going into next year, guess what? They're going to have to replace 24. So lots of guys coming back on 1-year contracts. You still see a guy like Jadeveon Clowney out there who seems to fill an obvious need for them, but there's been no movement indicating that he's going to come here. I think that's more of a locker room chemistry issue, that they don't see how he's going to work with this team. So they're not really engaging there. I like the Laramie Tunsil deal. It comes with a little bit of risk. You're going to have to pay him. Deebo Samuel, a lot of people like that move. I wonder what version of Deebo Samuel they're getting. If they're getting the Deebo that was like a 1,600 yard from scrimmage guy like he was a couple of years ago, then yeah, that's going to unlock so much in the offense. If they're getting the last couple of years version of him, that's a lot to give up and a lot to pay for not a lot of production. The draft for the Commanders, they only had 5 picks, so it's hard to give them a high grade. They just didn't have enough picks, and they clearly didn't have enough picks to fill all the needs that they had. But, they got better on the line. They picked up another cornerback, which they definitely needed. Especially one who's a little bit larger. Mikey Samuel has proven that he can play in the NFL. The problem is that he's all up maybe 5'10" and 165 pounds. He just cannot match up with a guy like A.J. Brown, who's got him by 6 inches and 50 pounds easy. So they addressed still some questions on the defensive edge.
All right. Smoking Jim, you have any questions for Mike about the Commanders?
No, I don't.
All right. Now it's the time, Mike. It's the big time. It's the time to talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers. All right, let's talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers here. Your thoughts on their schedule, on the draft, and where do you think they go this year? It looks like we're still on the Aaron Rodgers drama here. It's like the young and the restless here with this stuff, waiting to see what he's going to do. Nobody knows. It's we're getting mixed reports, rumors, things like that. Your thoughts on this, Mike? Mike, are you there? Mike? Seems like we lost Mike SISZAK here. Are you there, Mike? Mike? Oh, wow. Seems like we lost Mike here. We'll get Mike back in a couple minutes. Smoking Jim, your thoughts on the draft, the schedule, and the whole and everything else?
For who?
For the Steelers. Your thoughts?
Again, my opinion, I look at the draft as how you want to impact that season. The players that will impact 2025, I have to rate the draft a D. I think they got some good players, some good character guys. Although you don't need a bunch of Boy Scouts to go to the Super Bowl, but I don't see many players other than the running back that's going to come in and maybe the nose guard, but he only plays 30% of the snaps. So I don't see many players that's going to impact the 2025 season.
Okay, we got Mike back on the phone here. Mike, I see you're back here.
Yeah, I'm back. I'm sorry, some sort of gremlins in the area, but I was saying I don't understand. Maybe it was the ghost of Aaron Rodgers not wanting me to talk about him.
Yeah, that could be too. You know, he does go to one of those, what do they call those monk places, airshrooms or whatever you call it?
The ashram, the dark retreats. I don't know what, I can't understand. It is hard to see them being better than like a 6-win team right now with Mason Rudolph as your best option at quarterback. I don't think that even if they did have Aaron Rodgers in there, I mean, the defense, yes, I like the first-round pick. I think that getting a nose tackle to kind of take over at the point of that defense for Cam Hayward as he gets towards the end of his career was a must. But leaving yourself open yet again and failing to pick up a quarterback when say what you will about Shedeur Sanders, say what you will about Jalen Milroe, those guys were there for the taking for the Steelers, and they didn't take any one of them.
No,
and I had a lot of questions about, what is the decision-making process going on there at that position? I know that different teams have different blind spots, but you can't have a blind spot when it comes to the most important position on the field. I have questions about the DK Metcalf trade. I mean, I really think that you traded one headache for another. And I'm just not 100% sure what the plan was for this offseason, and even if there was a plan for this offseason.
Well, I think they did. I think they did what Cleveland did and rolled the dice and figured out, well, if it comes up number 8, we're taking this guy, or whatever. So, But anyway, Smoking Jim, any questions for Mike about the Steelers?
No, I agree with Mike. Other than I agree with his evaluations and analysis, but I think the Steelers have, with that defense, and it's the highest paid defense in all of football. You can win a lot of games and a lot of championships with defense. I think that Mason Rudolph was an above-average quarterback when he played here, and he got a little bit of experience in Tennessee. So I do still see the Steelers as a playoff team.
I hope you're right. I mean, I wouldn't. Nothing would make me more happy than to be wrong about this, because that would mean that Mike Tomlin's streak continues with never having a losing season. I would be happy to be proven wrong. I think their defense will keep them in a lot of games. I'm just not sure that they can score.
Yeah, well, here's the deal. You really don't need, with Arthur Smith's offense, as boring as it is, it's a power running game kind of thing. If you can run the football, all Mason Rudolph got to do is manage the game. That's it. If you can run the football and then use play action for the pass. Arthur Smith made some boneheaded calls last year. Some of his play calling was horrendous, and in some of these games. And, he wouldn't take the handcuffs off of Russell Wilson. Him and Wilson went round and round a few times. There was some slack there. So I'm interested to see if Aaron Rodgers would even want to come to the Steelers to have to deal with Arthur Smith and his boring offense, unless Arthur Smith fixes it up. And all the good offensive coordinators, Mike and Smoke and Jim, and you guys both know this better than I do, probably, or just as much as I do. The better offensive coordinators will fix the offense to the talent that they have. and they have a guy like Aaron Rodgers who can throw the ball, and a guy like DK Metcalf who can catch the ball. I just hope that they don't go after this receiver, this Olave or whatever his name is from New Orleans, because if they sign him, he's a concussion case, and I'm really hoping they don't sign him out of desperation to bring a second wide receiver in here.
Well, he's a very great talent, though.
Yeah, well,
I can see why they're interested. But let me ask you and Mike this: maybe the greatest quarterback in NFL history was John Elway. And John Elway's 2 Super Bowl wins, John Elway pretty much handed the ball off to Terrell Davis. He made the throws when he had to.
Yes.
Could Aaron Rodgers be willing to do something like that? Maybe to get another Super Bowl ring. Maybe this running back that Steelers got from Iowa, maybe he is the Terrell Davis for this offense.
Cyberuski said, "What's going on?" Thank you for your comments, Cyberuski. And later on, we'll be getting to the Facebook comments as well. If we have any Facebook comments, we'll be getting to those as well. So I'll be getting to those real shortly here. Mike, your thoughts on the schedule for the Steelers this year? They start off in Ireland against none other than the Jets and Justin Fields. Your thoughts on this traveling across the world to play these games?
The Ireland game is going to be interesting. I know I know why they want to go over there. It's going to be an interesting setup. The grass, the stadium over there, they're rugby pitches, they're Gaelic football pitches. It's going to be interesting to see how it holds up to a football game. I'll be honest though, anything can happen when you play in these international games. I would much rather, though, if I'm going to play an international game, I'd much rather do it early in the schedule. The good news is, though, flying to Ireland, as far as the international games go, actually not that bad. You're talking about maybe a 6.5 hour flight from Pittsburgh. So it's going to take them about as long to get there as it would to get to Seattle. So okay. I don't think that it's going to be as much of a hindrance. It will throw off the schedule, but if you've got to do it early. Otherwise, I think that much like the Ravens schedule, the NFC North didn't really get hammered as much as other teams did this season. I think that their schedule would play out pretty well. I guess the biggest question I have when I'm looking at them and their schedule and trying to judge the Steelers is, how are you going to be able to play with the personnel that you have right now? And that's what, right. The schedule doesn't matter if you don't have the talent on the team.
No, not at all.
Hey, Ralph, let me ask Mike, you and Mike a quick question. When the NFL sets schedule, you go where the NFL tells you to go. How come the Steelers only go to Ireland? Why don't they go to Brazil and Mexico and London? Why do they always get to go to Ireland? Is there something with the Roonies and the commissioner? I think that's unfair for the other teams, for the Steelers to be able to go to Ireland all the time. There's other teams that would love to go to Ireland as well.
Hey, listen, if I've got to play an international game and I have an in with the commissioner and he's going to listen to me and let me go because I was the former ambassador to Ireland and they're going to let me go and play my international game in Ireland, I'd much rather have that be the way that I have to go than some of these other ones. I agree with you. I'm pretty sure that when you look at what the options are, I gotta believe that there are a lot of teams that would sign up to go to Ireland. Full credit to the Steelers and to the Roonies if they've got it so set up that they get to go over the first weekend of the season and play in the Aviva.
Oh yeah.
There are worse ways to go. I don't think we need to be complaining about this one. I'm congratulating. Good job.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, I'll say this. Okay, I'll say this. This is one thing that Roger Goodell is giving the Steelers some justice on, because, like Mike said, we could be playing in Brazil. Look at that field. We could be playing in some of these other places that have bad fields. Okay. But you know what? We're playing in Ireland, and it's the only justice he's given us since Art II took the team over and Dan Rooney passed. Art Goodell has it out for the Steelers beyond that. So at least he gave us some kind of justice. Look at the schedule we had last year. You know what I mean? So that was not a really great schedule for us to really kind of win with in some perspective. So, but anyway, also mediocre Mike here has, let's see, this year and next year left on his contract. And that'll be 20 years. I say he steps away, but if anyone else wants to disagree with me, that's fine. But I think he steps away after this contract. I don't think he's coming back. That's just my opinion. So, we'll see where that goes. But Mike, thank you for being part of the program. It was great having you on. And as always, and we'll talk to you again. Thank you.
All right. Always fun, gentlemen. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Mike SISZAK from Amped Up Sports was just on with us by phone. Mike put some great insight into the Ravens, the Steelers, and the Commanders, because he's always, he covers them for Amped Up Sports. And it's always great to have him here because he brings some great, huge insight on what is happening as far as that goes. But anyway, Smoki and Jim, your thoughts on what Mike had to say about all three teams?
Well, I've been saying since the end of last year that the team that could disappoint in the National Football League is the Washington Commanders. Number one, they won 5 games on the last play of the game. Now that you can't hope that streak continues. I like their quarterback, but he's young. He's yet to play banged up. He's yet to play under the boos of a home crowd. All quarterbacks get booed sooner or later by their home crowd. Let's see how he reacts to that. I think the schedule this year is much tougher for the Washington Commanders, and they didn't have a particularly good draft. And Mike said pretty much said the same thing. So I look for the Commanders to take a major step back to reality this year.
Well, remember when the Rams and Sean McVay took over in the first, 4 or 5 years of his tenure as coach? They didn't have any draft picks. And they went to the Super Bowl, a few times with the free agents and no draft and hardly any draft picks. But now they're starting to get draft picks, and it hurt them because remember they had some bad seasons in between here, and now they're starting to get their draft picks back. And you have to have enough draft picks in order, and especially if you're going to have a lot of free agents that are going to disappear, or if you're going to have guys who, I'm going to go guys who simply, are on 1-year contracts, like Mike said, and you got guys who are just ready to walk away in free agency next year. It looks like the Commanders are going to have a lot of compensatory picks. So, they might have as many as the Steelers, but we'll see as far as that goes.
But I agree with you, Ralph. I think Mike Tomlin will walk away from the Steelers right after he breaks Don Schuler's record.
Yeah. And how many wins does he need for that, Smoki and Jim? I think you wouldn't know that, right?
About 100.
100 wins. Is that what he needs?
About 100.
Well, it's going to be.
Don't forget
it's going to be about
Belichick.
5. It's going to be about 5 more years.
Belichick came the closest.
Yeah,
he was 20 some wins away.
Yeah, it's going to be about 5 more years.
So another 10 years. Another 10 years.
Yeah. All right. We have Cheryl tuning in on Facebook. Thank you, Cheryl, for tuning in on Facebook. Anyone else that wants to comment either on Facebook or on YouTube here, comment section's wide open. Our mailbag's wide open. Steve here Steve is from, let's see, Baden here. Yeah, Baden. And Steve says, Ralph, Smoki, and Jim, it's great to have you guys back on the air. He says, I'm really happy to have you. And Ralph, I congratulate you on the move, and you got out of that lawless town called Pittsburgh. All All right. Thank you for the kind words there, Ron. I appreciate that. So there you go. All right. And thanks for the kind words as well. It's great to be back here. We're in Studio 10 here in Berlin, Maryland, right outside of Ocean City, Maryland. I moved. That's why I haven't been on the air for the last couple of weeks. We had some issues getting my studio up last week. So it's up now. It's ready to go. We're here. And it's great to be back on the air here. And we have some changes coming up. We're going to be on the Oracle Talk Radio Network as soon as I get the technical issues worked out with them. We're working back and forth with each other to try to get that done. So there we go with that. And also, don't forget, we're on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter X platforms. And please don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Ralph Williams, RW Media. And also don't forget to follow me on my Twitter account as well. We're in the Mata Heating and Air Conditioning Studios, 724-2010-500 Mata Heating and Air Conditioning. All right. Also, if you're interested in, look, if you're handicapped like I am and you live in Western Pennsylvania, nobody better to call than the Keystone Coach Works right on Library Road, Route 88 in Bethel Park, 412-833-1900. Call today and talk to Don. He will get you set up with a van, a wheelchair accessible van, as he did myself, and the way you want it. So there you are with that. So if you're interested, please give Don a call, 412-833-1900. Call Don today and tell him that Ralph Williams sent you. Keystone Coach Works. All right, Smoking Jim. Let's talk a little bit about the Suckos. As you know, as I mentioned at the beginning of the broadcast, Paul Skeens has said that he wants to go down to Indianapolis because he wants to be part of a winning team. Now, does this mean the Pirates are going to trade him? I think they possibly could. I'm smelling it. I'm smelling a trade. I'm smelling Skeens and Keller both going bye-byes because I don't see the Steelers winning, or I'm sorry, the Pirates winning with them and winning without them. So why not win without them and get rid of the salaries and just do it like normal? So your thoughts, Smoking Jim, on the Pirates?
Yeah, I agree. I believe in bats. I think you trade Paul Skeens and you get a couple nice bats. Listen, without some bats, you can have all the great pitching in the world. The Pittsburgh Pirates got some great pitching, but they can't win because they can't generate enough runs. So I'll bring some bats in here, man, and I would get rid of Paul Skeens and get something for him because he's going to leave eventually anyway.
Yeah, exactly. And the sad part about it is you've got wasted efforts by both Keller and Skeens. Falters even had a couple good games. Haney hasn't done bad. So I mean, but then all of a sudden, the good effort goes bye-byes. They have good starting pitching. They just can't hit. They have no hitters, nothing. And finally, I got Claudio to admit on our show last Saturday on the Sports Corner radio show with me, Ralph Williams, Smoking Jim Frazier, Claudio Rosano, and Luther Dupree on Saturdays, 2 to 3 p.m. on 1250 The Answer in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and also on 92.5 on the FM dial, and also on 1250. Let's see, The Answer 12 theanswerpgh.com is the website you need to go on, or go on Google, punch up 1250 The Answer Pittsburgh, scroll down to Radio Stations USA, pop the arrow open, and you'll be able to listen to the show every Saturday, 2 to 3 p.m. I finally got Claudio to admit that Hayes isn't hitting right. After all these years that I've said about Hayes not being able to hit, he finally came clean on Saturday and said Hayes isn't hitting. And finally, they're all not hitting. And, they keep firing all these hitting instructors. I think they need to go out and get some players. Now I'm hearing a rumor that there's a trade possibility coming up. The Phillies and Bryce Harper, and it's getting pretty juicy. Really? What's Bryce Harper going to do? The season's we're coming up almost on the All-Star break in July, and we haven't done anything. So if Bryce Harper can maybe produce something, who knows? But you know what? With the Pirates, nothing can happen because the Sid Bream curse, like Smoking Jim says, is still there. There you go. That's my thoughts on the Pirates. Any more you want to talk about with the Pirates, Smoking Jim?
No, you laid it out. Great, Ralph. Great job.
Thank you. All right, next we're going to talk about the Penguins. Those of you who don't know, and we've haven't been around for a few weeks or more. The Penguins fired Mike Sullivan, their coach. They're looking for a coach right now. All I can say is this: that coach at Denver University, I'm glad he re-signed his contract with them, because I didn't want him here. I didn't want him with the Penguins. Okay, they don't need that. They need to get an experienced guy in here who knows hockey. All right, what's his name? Just got fired from the Flyers, John Turturro. Good coach, just in a bad place. Okay. I had this discussion on Thursday on the Fire Up show on the South Florida Tribune. We were talking about Dave Kanellis down in the Carolina Panthers. And you want to know something? I said this: good coach with a bad place and a bad team and a bad owner. Okay. Sometimes you might not be able to bake a cake on the stove you're baking it on, but you might be able to get another stove and bake that cake right. So what I'm saying is, John Turturro's sitting out there. Why isn't Kyle Dubas ringing his phone? He's a good coach. Just was with just not the organization didn't work out for him. Just like mediocre Mike Sullivan didn't work out with the Penguins, and now he's with the Rangers. Maybe he can do something with the Rangers. A change of scenery, a change of pace for him. Okay? I'm hearing stories about Rick Tocchet possibility. He was let go with Vancouver. All right? Bring back Rick Tocchet. Rick Tocchet's a good coach. Okay? Rick Tocchet's been there. Rick Tocchet's been here. He knows what to expect from Sidney Crosby. He knows how to get the best out of these players. Rick Tocchet's a good coach. Again, maybe in a bad place. Jim Rutherford's the GM up there, so that explains the whole story about Vancouver. All right, if they're having any bad times right now. But sometimes Jim Rutherford's trades, he was just pulling the trigger too fast and not thinking about the trades he was making. Your thoughts, Smoking Jim, on the Penguins here with this Mike Sullivan fire?
Hey, I think you said it all, brother.
All right, Smoking Jim. Let's talk a little bit about Pitt football. It's been on and off since spring practice of the transfer portal. It's been sort of a revolving door. They've lost some guys. They lost your buddy there, Julian Booger, or whatever his name was there from Penn Hills, your friend there, your favorite quarterback. I'm just kidding. So, but anyway, they lost him because I guess he got that kid they signed from Oklahoma came in, and now he felt threatened, so he got out. And that's what a lot of guys are doing on this team. Is it Puzzi, or is it just too much depth there in too many different positions? What's your thoughts?
Well, you can't stop a quitter from quitting, and that's what you get from Penn Hills, a bunch of quitters. Hey, listen, you're going to have competition. I don't know if you remember, Pirates had drafted a guy in the third round who was a catcher and was from West Virginia. I can't think of his name right now, but was an All-American quarterback. And he ended up giving up baseball and went to West Virginia, and he was going to be this big star football player. But the kid from Frazier High School stayed, beat him out, and ended up being one of the better quarterbacks
You mean
in
Major Harris?
West Virginia history.
Yeah, I mean Major Harris. Yeah, he was. Will Greer, I think it was. It might have been Will Greer. I can't remember the quarterback's name, but I think it was Will Greer. It was one of them. Ended up wanting to play football, and that happened to him. But I'm trying to remember. It wasn't Will Greer. It was somebody else. I can't remember who it was. But yeah, you're exactly correct. And
but it wasn't Major. It wasn't Major Harris. It was another quarterback from Brashear that came along after Major Harris.
Okay.
Nobody was going to beat out Major Harris, but this kid, everybody thought he was going to transfer and quit, and end up being a great quarterback. Still got some records at West Virginia, but whenever I can think of his name, I'll text it to you.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. I can't think of it myself right now. What do you think they do going into this season, Smoking Jim? What do you think? 8-4, 6-5, another losing season. What do you think?
They got some losers, man. You just can't keep loading up on quarterbacks. I thought they had their quarterback last year. Now you're bringing in another quarterback. They got the same eligibility as him, and then you end up losing, like you said, the kid from Penn Hills. When you need other positions, I just don't think Narduzzi ever was a head coach. They're in a bad situation because the buyout is so high. But sooner or later, you might have to bite the bullet and buy him out and get a real college coach in here.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They're going to have to. But I do know one thing: Alan Green has said this. Both Pat Narduzzi and Jeff Capel are both on watch this year, which means he's watching them. And I think he's going to make some kind of a move somewhere, somehow here, somewhere soon. Because, he's a new athletic director. Every new athletic director wants their own coaches. And I think it's time. Capel had a kind of a tough season this past year, turned down the NIT yet again. And I can't believe Alan Green let it happen. Okay. I would have been like knocking on his door saying, no, we're not turning this down, Jeff. We're not doing it. Okay. And you know who else I blame? Doug Whaley. You know why? He's the general manager of the university's athletic department. Why doesn't he step up and say, "Hey, wait a minute, you're costing us money here. We need money for the NIL and some other stuff here, and you're playing games here. You know what I mean? Why didn't he step up? Oh, he was a bad GM. What makes you think he'll step up and be a good GM here?
Good point.
Yeah, he's lucky to have that job on that radio station in Pittsburgh. There, he's lucky to have that job. So. All because he was a former GM, and he's a Whaley too. That's right. So, but anyway, Christopher Cole checking in. Hey, Ralph, thank you, Christopher Cole, for checking in as well. And so, Smoking Jim, anything you want to talk about? We have about 2-3 minutes left in the show before we move on to Wrestle Talk.
A little disappointed in Brett Kiesel. Listen. Brett Kiesel's a legend around here, the Beard. What kind of reaction you think you're going to get showing a crowd? And I don't blame him for being upset. But when you upload that stuff to social media and you got a name like that, hey, the Pirates is getting beat up on enough. Either go and enjoy the game or be like you and boycott it all together. But, for somebody to have a name like Brett Kiesel and then take a picture of a non-existent crowd and say that it's shameful, which it is, all that is true. But I'm disappointed it came from Brett Kiesel.
Yeah, absolutely. And, here's an interesting story. Double M. And I'm not going to mention his full name. We all know his name, Double M. Well, he came on and he was saying some stuff about once when the Penguins still used to play at the old Mellon Arena. And tickets were $5 in Peanut Heaven. And he was going on and on about how nobody was showing up at the game. They didn't want to pay $5 and all that other stuff. All right. And somebody came on and said, well, you have a lot of nerve to say something when you get in for free because you're a part of the media. You get in for free. You get free food. They park your car, all that other stuff. So why would you sit there and get on people who maybe can't afford that $5 to go to a game, you know what I mean, or don't want to pay the $5 to go to a game and criticize people for not showing up? That's Brett Kiesel, okay? Brett Kiesel's sitting there going shameful, but what planet has Brett Kiesel been living on? Don't you realize Bob Nutting is the worst owner in baseball? Don't you realize that the Pirates stink? Don't you realize you got your best pitcher that wants to go to that's volunteering to go to the minors? Volunteering. to go to the minors. Okay. Now, when have you ever heard that, Smoking Jim? A pitcher volunteering to go to the minors? Tell me.
I never have.
No, he's volunteering to go to Indianapolis. Volunteering. Okay. Who does that? Paul Skeens. You know why? Because he's on a sad, stinky team that'll never get better at all. All right. They got the, they'll be getting beat by the Hackensack Bulls and the Bad News Bears one of these days, just like they get beat every year in spring training by Manatee Community College. So there you go.
Do they really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they've gotten beaten.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, a few times by Manatee Community College. They've gotten beaten.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's pretty bad when you get beaten by Manatee Community College. So, But anyway, Smoking Jim, any final thoughts before we wrap it up and get ready for Wrestle Talk?
No, sir.
All right. For Smoking Jim Frazier, I'm Ralph Williams. Thank you all. I want to thank Cyberuski, Christopher Cole on YouTube for your comments. And I want to thank Cheryl on the Facebook for her comments. And until next time, thank you for tuning into the Sports Corner show. We'll be back next Tuesday. And don't forget this Saturday, 2 to 3 p.m., 12:50 a.m. The Answer, 92.5 on the FM dial. The Sports Corner radio show with me, Ralph Williams, Smoking Jim Frazier, Claudia Rosano, and Luther Dupree. Have yourself a great one. Thank you and be safe.